want to take this time again to welcome you all back to another edition of the Men's Corner, coming to you live from DeMarco Solar. Of course, you all know that we are produced by Sonny Simmons. We are powered by DJ Glam, and BeeSting is doing his things on the ones and twos. By the ones and twos, we mean the videography thing going on here. We're going to go ahead and kick this thing right off. The conversation today is all about relationships, and you know, we invited a young lady to come and talk to us about the relationships and things of that nature because we wanted to add a different twist to it. Of course, it is the men's corner, and we're doing our thing from a man's perspective. So, ladies, don't jump on us because we don't know all of it. That's why we brought the sister in so she can enlighten us and kind of check us when we get off a line because we gonna get offline because that's what we do. You know? That's what we do. You know what I'm saying?
There's no other way.
Yes, indeed. So I'm gonna turn the steering wheel over to my main Apple Scrapple 6 and let them get this thing popping and rolling.
And we're gonna dive on in. We're gonna talk about some good relationships and some bad relationships and how to date properly.
That's correct.
Yeah. So we got the young lady in here, DC Nic.
DC Nic.
We rocking the band-aids for tonight, so don't get distracted by it. But listen, I want to dive right in. So what's proper dating these days?
Well, first of all, you have to define boundaries and parameters in your dating. There's certain levels or several different levels to dating, honestly speaking. There is dating with intention. There is dating just because I just want a partner to hang out with. And there's dating once you are in that committed or monogamous relationship or marriage that you still have to do. People oftentimes forget about that, but it's so imperative that you date regardless, continuously, even if you are married or in a monogamous relationship. Dating is defined in those three categories.
Okay, so we got an intention, partner to hang out with, or committed through the marriage or a monogamous type of relationship. Okay, all right.
Okay, so we talking about intentional dating, but how about those people that just date for
getting it
purpose? Yeah.
Getting it in?
Yeah, there you go.
Well, then that is the second, which is, oh, you just want to hook up. It's a partner. We just hanging. We just kicking it. There is no commitment. The one thing about that is that I would caution people to just be very clear as to defining what it is in your expectations before you start that.
So when you say that and people get in their feelings, so then what?
Well, one, if you've actually openly communicated that and they say, okay, this is something that I can deal with, I understand that you're not a person that wants to be in a committed relationship, and then they catch feelings, then in all honesty, you have to set your boundary and then maybe step away from that situation because that's not what you started. That's not the way that it was set up. That's not what you agreed upon. And so it goes back to that communication piece.
Okay, so if people just ignore that, then you're saying step away from that.
With all due respect, you can let them know that this is why. This is not going to work for us.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, that's interesting because I think that people go into relationships today trying not to get hurt instead of just allowing themselves to just really feel the moment, enjoy the opportunities that are presented. They go in it with the intent of, I'm just not going to get so close to let somebody hurt my feelings.
Right.
And that it ends up happening anyway because you actually went in it with a preconceived notion that I'm not, so you don't let yourself be you.
Exactly.
You're actually changing who you are because you are afraid that this person might not be the one, so you don't want to give everything to them.
Now, with that in mind, I would always caution people to this. Be the best you can authentically be. Don't allow anybody to change you or who you are as a person. There is times when you have to accept constructive criticism. I get it. Hey, we all need direction and correction from time to time, but when you are living in your truth and who you really are, nobody can knock you off your block. So regardless of if that relationship did or did not work, if it doesn't change you as a person, you're genuine enough to openly receive the next person that comes into your life, because it's somebody.
So what about those people that wear masks when you're dating?
Everybody does.
Well, I'm not gonna say everybody does, but a lot of people do wear masks. And the thing with that is, you know, you can only put up a front for so long, and this is why I say it's better to just be authentically yourself, because when you can't keep up with the facade, then what happens? That person that you presented yourself to be is no longer viable to the relationship. I don't want to be with you anymore because, you know, you used to bring me flowers every Friday. Now all of a sudden, you don't even buy me a French fry from McDonald's. No, it's a problem.
So how do people stay in those type of relationships knowing that it begins this way and it gradually changes and it never comes back to this way?
Okay, so you can only, if you want the relationship to work and you feel like it's worth salvaging, then the first thing that I would say that you have to do is have a naked moment. And when I say a naked moment, okay, get out your head. It's not necessarily butt naked, but it can be if it's
emotionally butt
exactly.
naked.
You
Okay.
do. You have to have that naked moment where you're just emotionally vulnerable and open to communicate and say, look, this is what's bothering me. This is the issue that I'm having. How can we work through this? If it's worth salvaging. If it's not, then you got to be courageous enough to have the conversation to say, it's not going to work.
And you know, what I like to tap in on with that piece is when you talk about identifying the intentions and defining what this relationship, where we're going with it, do people sit down anymore with pen and paper with each other and actually draw a line down the middle and say, these are the things that I'm expecting of you, these are the things that I will accept from you, and here's where we're trying to go with this. How can we mesh the expectations and that what I'm going to accept? We don't write anything down, we just talk about it. Hence later on, 5 months down the line, someone saying, but I told you that when we first met that I wanted to be monogamous unto you, and you said that you were cool with that. Now today you're telling me that you don't want it. Well, you say, I didn't remember that. I don't recall that. But if we write it down, then that's kind of concrete and have that agreement, right?
That's true, but then, you know, this is also, I would agree with the writing down. I also would agree with the fact that any relationship, whether it's a friendship, a marriage, a actual monogamous, platonic relationship, it deserves honest communication, seriously. And the reason for that is you can only be honest with how you feel and what your expectations are. The problem is people don't communicate their expectations. That's what leads to disappointment. So if instead of me assuming that you know that, oh, you know Nikki likes red roses, and you might go get a carnation, and instead of me just saying, oh, thank you, like, I'm gonna honestly tell you, oh, I really don't care for carnations. No, and that may be offensive to you.
Yeah, somebody told me that they don't like flowers, but they like balloons. I was pissed.
It may be offensive, but you have to respect a person in their honesty, because this is what you say you want. And if that's something that you want and you want to build upon it, don't shun them from being honest with you.
And it should come up, in the beginning, waiting in the end. That's why it's important. You know, when people say, tell me something about you, let's have a conversation about who you are. When I'm asking you to tell me who you are, I'm not asking you to talk about your age and how many children you got. I'm asking you to give me the emotional boundaries that exist within you, so I'll know where to go, how far I can go with certain things. So we're going to take a quick Twinkie break right now, and Twinkie and lemonade.
Somebody says different levels of relationship.
Levels in relationship.
Yes, it is. Without question. That's right. Coming back to you to the men's corner. We'll be right back.
Hey, y'all.
Trying to talk about relationships, you know, to DeMarco Solo.
So let's go get it. Come on. So let's go get it. DeMarco Solar, located at 3353 Darnell Drive in Forestville, Maryland. Now, if in fact you got somewhere to go tonight, come see us at DeMarco Solar. Got fresh sweatsuits for you fellas, fresh tees for you fellas, and look, let me tell you something. Something real simple, something real sweet. All colors, all sizes, but here's the deal. DeMarco Solar, we customize a lot of clothing for everybody and anybody. DeMarco Solar, 3353 Darnell Drive in Forestville, Maryland. Come on, come see us, because guess what? We got it all. Yeah, you got it all.
So we're going to go ahead and get this thing started right back. Welcome back to the Men's Corner. This edition here, relationships, and our special guest, Miss Nikki.
Yes.
We call her Nic DC and on Facebook, and of course, my man Apple Scrapple 6. During the break, Nikki and I was having a discussion. We were talking a couple of things, talking about deal breakers and things of nature. And what are some of the deal breakers in a relationship? Someone on her line said that, hey, the deal breakers and boundaries should be discussed in the very beginning. I think that's the same form. You know, we believe in that philosophy too. Let's talk it all out beforehand.
That's right.
You know, but when you talk about, like we said, people feel like they're being used in relationships. And I was saying that most people feel like they're being used because their level of expectancy has superseded that of acceptancy. For instance, you accept that I drink and I smoke and I gamble and I hang out. You accepted that from me because you met me in those circumstances. Now that we are an item, you expect for me, as you said it, to just transition, go to rehab right away, you know, and then stop hanging out like I used to hang out because you're expecting greater of me. Can we talk a little bit about that level of in the relationship when the expectations
exceed
what you have accepted and what that brings to it?
Okay, so to me, if your expectation exceeds what is accepted, that's already a recipe for disaster. Now, it's fair to set an expectation later on down the road because let's be honest, we all change. Wine ages. That's how it becomes wine, you know, so we just get better in time. We're supposed to, let me say that, people. However, we're supposed to. However, with that being said, honestly speaking, as you change, your life evolves. It's fair to put up in place another expectation, but you have to still communicate that. So what I used to accept when we first started dating may have been, okay, yeah, you partied and you smoked weed all day, all night.
Right.
But now I don't expect, since we've been together for 10 years, that you still smoke weed and party and
Y'all
all
accept
day.
that crap. Y'all accept them jokers smoking. Y'all accept them jokers sitting on the couch playing PlayStation
all day.
Y'all accept them with dirty fingernails and all that. Stop playing.
Like,
Stop
I mean, it's not okay. So at some point, I have to, in all fairness to you, since I've allowed you to have this behavior for so long, I have to set the tone and say, hey, this has to change. I now expect this of you. I see so much better in you. And it's okay to have the conversation. It's not about putting a person down, but you just have that conversation in love and just communicate it kindly and let them know that, hey, this is why I feel like you could do so much better. I see this for you.
So should it be a time frame on that?
Oh, God.
Since y'all talking about rehab and cold turkey.
Now, I'm on the fence about the time frame. I guess it would depend upon what the situation and
So
circumstances.
you know what you sound like right now? You sound like a pastor that can't tell a couple to divorce. That's what you sound like right now.
Well, I would not tell a couple to divorce because it's not my business.
See, that's what pastors do, and that's not right. So you just got people sitting in a sick house.
Well, I'm going to say this. I will say things such as, I don't like that you're going through this. That hurts me. It bothers me that it bothers you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? All you can do is be an encourager and support a person, but you're not supposed to be like, oh, nah, you need to leave him alone. Sonny, leave her alone. That's not your place. Because what happens is when you do stuff like that, it draws a wedge between you and the friend.
I take the wedge.
So we don't be friends anymore because like we talk on the show a lot about that word friend and love, right?
Yeah.
We play with it a lot.
Right.
So a friend's supposed to come in and be that wedge and tell you the truth.
Absolutely.
However, we waiting for people to tell us what we want to hear.
Yeah.
And that's what we're dealing with today. Like we don't even know how to date. That's why we at this point right now.
I don't think that I see that totally different. So me not being able to tell a married person to divorce is something totally different than me telling you I don't like that your wife cheats on you. I'm just, oh no, she don't cheat.
Right.
Miss Faheem, you don't cheat. I don't.
Right. No, I feel
you see, but this is what I'm saying. Me telling you that it's not fair that you're going through this, I feel bad. You should not feel this way.
Okay.
I'm supposed to support you and say, look, you need to reel this in. Go seek help. Y'all need to talk about it. What you gonna do? But I can't just say, you need to leave her alone.
No, but you saying it as a friend, you did address it to your friend. You tell her what was going on.
Right.
Single people supposed to take advice from just single people and married people from just married people?
I don't think so.
I think anybody that is human and mature can give advice. I do feel like
Human and mature.
Yeah.
And because, you know, what's very interesting for me, every married person that I know was at some point in time single.
Absolutely.
Every last one of
Absolutely.
us have been single. So we have a little bit of knowledge about being in that space of just dating for a minute. The key is what brought us to the decision to say this person is the person that I'm making the decision to be with for the rest of my life, as they say. Now, having said that, I think that most relationships, I think that even marriages should be more than just a contract that's on that license. I think that marriages should be reviewed every 3 years.
Oh.
I think that if every marriage had to be, if every marriage expired contractually every 3 years and you had to renew it every 3 years, then the divorce rate would go down. I think the cheating rate would go down the whole 9 yards because we would have to be committed, unadulterated, short of someone abusing you physically and emotionally. But we had to be committed up for that 3 years. When 3 years come, my thing is we go and say, both of us are agreeing that this is not going to work, and we go ahead and part ways. But every 3 years, it should be reviewed. That's just my opinion.
So I think in 3 years, if the sex went downhill, there's going to be a lot of divorce there.
But in 3 years, you'd be obligated
hold
to
on. With that
instead of going out.
perspective, technically, with his perspective, honestly, I don't know that the sex will ever go down because we got this whole renewal thing on it. You gonna have to keep that rabbit going. You hear me? But no, that's a different perspective.
You know, but I think that and we talked about this before, in most relationships, or almost any relationship, the greatest problem that we have is that people listen to each other with the intent to respond, opposed to with the intent to understand what somebody is saying. You know, it's like I gotta get this out. I'm not trying to understand your part. And so in most relationships, you have the barriers of people just not having an understanding of each other.
That and the fact that you have to understand that in relationships, you're supposed to be partners. Therefore, that means you're supposed to support one another. So we're not in competition. We're supposed to be equal partners. So therefore, it shouldn't be, yes, the man is supposed to be king and you're a queen. However, it's just like the head and the neck. You can't move that head without no neck.
Wait, but is there equality in a marriage?
It should be.
How? I just want to know. I'm asking, how is there equality in a marriage?
How is it not?
Oh, y'all should have this. Yeah, y'all both of y'all married.
I'm just asking, how is it equality in the marriage? Because here's the thing.
I think that
the man is supposed to be head of household. Now, I'm not talking about a bum joker
So what does
I'm talking
head of
about the
household
man.
mean these days?
Exactly. What does head of household mean? Now, in the old days, the man took care of everything. All the bills, everything. Only thing mama had to do was cook and clean. But guess what? Mama didn't work like that either.
No,
and then all of a sudden, women's live equal rights and all that. Now you want to leave up out the house. You want the same pay. You want to leave up out the house, and you want to go to work.
I want it.
Yeah, you want to go to work.
So how is it?
So what makes it equal?
What's the equal? Answer the question.
Why is it equal now? Why should it be equal?
I think
How
that
can it be?
equal is what is equal for you. You get to define your algebraic equation.
In your household?
In your household.
So you can't have a conversation outside of your household.
No, technically you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to. Especially for married people, you ain't supposed to.
Okay.
I ain't gonna say we don't, Jesus.
Oh, yeah, and for the record, none of us here, we're not relationship experts, and that's our disclaimer. So if you come on here and you look at us and they don't know what they talking about, maybe we don't, but then again, maybe we do.
Maybe we do.
We don't profess to be no expert, we just having a conversation. And if it's something that you want to offer to this piece, then go on and say it, you can bring it to us and we'll get to it when we can.
Exactly.
You know, it's like I said, I just think the things, if it was, there were more contractual agreements, that had a timeline to it.
But can I say something about that contractual agreement? Because what I noticed was that this is the men's corner here with the executive producer being Sonny Simmons. However, Faheem just nicely stated that when was it Faheem or Adrian? The sex go down, and
that was sick. That wasn't me. That was
he
sick.
went to the feminine side. Now I would like to address the fact that all women don't lack luster in their libido, honey. You just need to understand that sometimes that's a male problem. Okay? Just let that record be reflected.
I got a hole, not a hole.
And you know, Six always said, he's always saying to me like, Sean, we can't compete with no ever-ready, Sean. So stop faking. So in our relationships, if the sexual, we talking about the sexual piece, we talking about the intimate piece now.
Right.
If there's a problem in that, how do you resolve that issue? How do you have that conversation for a man? What should a man say to a woman when he's saying, you know, it ain't that I'm not attracted to you no more, it's just the hell. Like them days you have headaches. Shawty got a headache today. Shawty ain't, Shawty don't want he don't want to move in this direction
Well, how
today.
many days that's gonna be?
I don't know. I'm just throwing out there. The same amount of days y'all have headaches. Watch it. For lack of a bad description, when all things considered, if you ain't reached the age of menopause, then you got 3, 5, and 7 days where you're going to have a headache. It's either 3, 5, or 7. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Okay, so how do we
gotta sit there like that there, and we waiting.
Ladies,
we waiting.
Can I candidly answer that question?
Answer it the right way. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, y'all, we having fun. We talking about relationships.
Answering that question from a female perspective, when the male has the lackluster, then I would say just as if the roles were reversed, where I would want him to do something to make me feel a little more enticed, I would think that the female then is supposed to initiate and take that responsibility and do something to make you feel a little more enticed. And, hopefully that may help her.
You being political?
Yeah, well, I am.
You being political? I like that.
I'm not with you. I am. I'm a lady.
Bernie Mac said, it don't take no 45 minutes to bust a nut.
3 minutes. That's a heavyweight bout. And they've been known to be knocked out. They've been known to be knocked out in the first round.
See, she need more.
I need more than 3.
See, we be back in 1 minute.
You can put pause at 3.
Lord have mercy.
Are you dreaming of the perfect audio-visual system but don't know where to start? Unlimited Connect Installations has you covered. We are a professional audio-visual installation company serving both residential and commercial locations in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. Our services include security camera installation, a variety of HD cameras, home theater installation, projector installation, multi-room audio, and much more, all at affordable prices. Give us a call at 202-702-6700. or visit us online at www.unlimitedconnect.com.
No chase.
Good to see you,
That's
baby.
how we want it.
Yes.
So we're gonna go ahead and get back to this piece right quick.
Sean, I'm on this live, girl. You call me.
Well, welcome back again to go ahead, sis.
What you
We
laughing at?
back. Look,
I'm
I
sick
like
of
this
him, man.
conversation. This gonna be a part 2 here.
Yeah, we got to have part 2. We don't have enough time to go through
Enough
this. Yeah, thank you, Sonny. Thanks to our producer. We got to have part 2 of this thing. Everybody talking about this one. They like this one here.
They like the
Yeah,
relationship.
but we were talking earlier. Nikki said something in her introduction. She talked about being in a relationship, being authentically you. And so during the break, we was talking about it. And being authentically you requires some level of self-exposure.
No, not some. All.
All that. Oh, okay.
All self-disclosure.
all self-disclosure.
Nobody
Disclosure.
doing that.
You do have to.
Have to and doing is 2 different things.
I know, but that's the problem. That's why relationships don't work.
But what's the time limit that you should do all this self-disclosure? Why should I give you everything? Hold, let me just say it this way. I'm just hypothesizing here. Let's hypothetically say, let's say a guy, you meet a guy, you like everything about this guy. The first couple of months y'all talking, you digging on each other, you really feeling each other. And then all of a sudden, you haven't been intimate.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, that brother come and say, I've been diagnosed with herpes.
Oh my Jesus.
What?
No.
Pause.
My nose hurts, and I didn't take pain meds, but he wants me to hurt myself.
No, the reason why is because we're talking about self-exposure.
Wait a minute.
We're talking about self-exposure and the length of time that you need to expose this. Why? No, because we're talking about relationships and we're talking about being true. And if you're being truthful, why should you wait 3-4 months later?
I want
or
to know
should
she want to sleep with him that day.
You know what you want to do. But he is the one that maybe say I'm just kind of pushing
Okay,
back.
so let me say that.
How much truth and
How
exposure
much
should he
truth
give
do you
you?
want?
You don't want the truth.
He got that baggage.
I want the truth. So let me, in all honesty, seriously, there are so many people that are plagued with things like that.
Yeah.
Diseases that they will never go away.
Right.
And it's not fair for us as a population of people to believe that they can't date successfully because they can.
Because there's a man out here for that.
It's a med and it's called a condom. Okay?
Okay.
It's medication and it's condoms. So it just like it's people with HIV that have successful relationships and marriages. All jokes aside, no, I don't.
Right.
But
Right. No, I
at
got
the
you.
end of the day, you can still be successful. But in your honesty, once you've communicated that, once you feel like you want to cross those barriers, then you have given that person enough respect and decency
Okay.
to make the choice.
They make hope.
Stop taking people's choice from them. That's the problem that we have.
What you saying that? So, let's say you date somebody that day. Don't y'all know what y'all want to do to that guy? that day?
Not sometimes yes, sometimes no. That's
It's a
not
high
always
percentage of yes.
not necessarily. Because let me say, you might feel like you got that. I might be like, oh yeah, all right. Like yeah, what moves you don't move me.
I ain't say that.
No, I'm just saying that to say. No, what I'm saying is, everything is not physical. There's as you age.
But these days,
no,
most people are dating for that.
But the problem is that it's only surface. That's on the surface. Guess what? Physically, all of that attraction is not going to last if you don't sustain it with or back it up emotionally. So if you don't unpack yourself emotionally and show who you are authentically yourself,
yeah.
that may not allow the person to know if I want to spend time with you for real.
Okay, so we talking. We keep it a bean in here.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna travel back down the hands of time for myself.
Okay.
As a single guy.
As a single guy.
Okay,
I
okay.
dated a young lady and I had waited 2 years for some trash.
Looney Tunes.
Well, I need some tissue because he about to cry. He about to cry.
For you to say that, right? Like, somebody wait that long and that's what you get in return. And it's the same way, vice versa.
Right.
Well, you know
Nobody
what?
sticking around
Okay,
for that.
hold on. And this is where
I'm
let
much
me
more
say this.
mature now, people.
Let me say this. Let me say this. That can happen. That can happen. No, for real. That can happen, right? But then this is where that communication piece turns on, because sometimes you got to, give a little instruction, honey, a little guidance,
That's
just
what I
to
was gonna
tell them, hey, touch me like this.
Right.
Do this for me.
Right.
I like it when you talk like this to me. You know what I'm saying?
so
let me
let me
help you stimulate me, because me helping you help me is us ultimately helping each other.
Man, what you saying now? So what you saying that now? Let's talk about this piece right here. Romantic. What is romantic now? Being romantic to your partner.
Ooh,
Oh,
God
I
Almighty.
am such a romantic.
Because a
I
lot
am
of people don't know
too,
how to do that.
Sonny.
Like, just sending flowers isn't romantic these days.
no.
Or they don't know how to accept it.
No.
Right. Oh, vice
so,
versa giving it.
Exactly.
You just, I give you something, you supposed to, no.
no, so romance is so much. Romance is kind gestures, kind words. It could be a note. It could be a card. It could be a flower. It could be, let's hold hands walking in the park. It could be, you know
So it
what?
can be little words like, hey, butt.
That's kind of cute. That is kind of cute. So you set your own tone.
Well, you know, I look at it like this, because most people always ask, what's the way to almost,
And they want to know what made the trash.
what's the way to an almost perfect
That shit was
relationship?
dry as hell.
And a lot of people,
Hey, Brian, you
would
want
like
to
to
know?
say
It was
this
super
is-
dry.
he was like this. But
Well, you know what? For the dryness, they do have lube. So go
Yeah,
ahead.
but I tell people a lot of times
was hurting out there with
you know,
you.
people always say that the method to an almost perfect relationship has to do with communication, and I tell people that's a bunch of bull crap, because in communicating, we could be agreeing to disagree on many fronts, and we never walk in the same path with that. I tell people I think the number one priority in any relationship should be understanding your mate's emotional stability. And that's where, like the car, for instance, if I come home every day and I bring you a rose home every day and sit it on the counter for you every day, 365 days, then on the first day of the new year, or the 366th day of a leap year, you come in the house and there's no flower on that countertop. What's your thoughts? Every day,
First thing I'm gonna say is, "Oh my God, babe, are you okay?" Like,
what the hell you mean? Why am I gotta be okay?
no, because I so love when you give me those flowers. And what happened?
So is that a part of romance?
But now, see, that's the maturation in you.
Right.
But the lack of maturation in most people, or most women in that regard, would be like, oh, this joker, it must be somebody else, man. This joker, what's going on with you, champ? You know, you seeing somebody else, you forgot about me and all that. And my thing was this, now I'm going to give you this piece. Because it could be based off of loyalty. See, for 365 days, I was getting the flowers from Six. Six is my flower man. He's my flower man. And then this day I went out there, Six wasn't there. And because I'm loyal to my flower man, guess what? I can't bring home flowers from somebody else, because Six is my flower man, ain't a good love man. But here's the piece. And this summer, this summer I'm gonna give it to the fellas. See, this that marriage thing.
What?
Don't go home empty-handed ever.
Right.
Because you're teaching her how to treat you from what you
That's
give her.
right.
So
Did
you
you
don't
hear
go
that?
home empty-handed. What you do
Don't
is
ever go home
you go to CVS. You go in the card section, and you don't get a card by Helen Stenner Rice or somebody else
No.
talking about your emotions. Get a blank card,
That's right.
and you put in there, you draw a picture of a flower, and you just say ... still loving you.
Man, that ain't happening to you.
No, I'm trying to tell you.
That's understanding her emotional
He's such a
stability.
hater. This one right here, he's such a
That's
hater.
understanding the emotional
It sounds
stability.
good. It sounds good, but you are 100% correct. That is not the reality.
Yeah,
And the
come
only
on.
reason why I know, because I date a lot of straight women who have been burnt, abused, and abused by you men who do not romanticize them.
So back to my damn question I asked.
So-
What is romance?
Well, they want to know. They want to know.
My man over here said somebody need to test drive them rides. That's what my man said.
Yeah, I waited 2 years to test drove some sandpaper. I'm with you, man.
But you know what? Hold on. Then I got a problem too, because if it was sandy, then I'm mad that you didn't bring water. Because technically, if
was
you
young
was
and I ain't know
hold
that.
on back, well, that's your problem.
Yeah.
You didn't have the maturation.
At all.
He just told you. You got
that's
to be
super patience at
No,
that time.
honey, I don't care about your patience. What I care about is your emotional maturity
I care
to
about my
entice
patience.
her.
And to understand your
That's
emotional
right.
stability.
Absolutely.
And that's what I'm
So
saying.
romance, back to that.
People may say that it don't work. People like our producer
They
just
want to
said.
know what's your romance.
Our producer said that it will not work, right? Taking that call to somebody. But what I'm saying is, when you're getting to know somebody and trying to understand them emotionally, you do the things that are so abnormal.
That's right.
Because you want to touch into something different. That's
right.
how the relationship can grow. And the only watch this. The best thing she'll know about that is she'll say, nobody ever has done that to me and brought a car to me and just drew it because he's doing it.
Absolutely.
So, but no, we talking about what is romance, but we still giving knowledge.
All right, so let's
this a
talk about-
two-parter. We ain't gonna get it all in one.
Romance, they want to know from you.
I'm gonna say this. I think in this era,
I gave examples.
I think in this era, when it comes to men and social media, it sounds really crazy, but there's emojis that you can use that's specifically for that person. You could easily make a nice message or status and use that emoji. That's romantic because she's going to come across it. Oh, I know that's me because that's my emoji.
Yeah, but that's somebody else's emoji. You ain't create that emoji.
Yeah.
Somebody else did. I'm talking about taking your own thing, drawing your own card, taking the time out to nurture yourself with a blank card and draw that flower in there and give her your own stuff.
Being honest, that's what us gays do. I haven't heard of a straight man doing that.
Yeah, we talking about straight shit in here tonight. We ain't talking no gay nothing.
Putting flowers in it. I've never.
Oh, I'm about as straight as straight can be, and I've done it.
In a relationship where I did receive a whole bunch of cards, and even if it was not the hand-drawn flower, it was the handwritten message.
Right.
And guess what? I am a keeper of those types of things because those mean the most to me. You can buy me a design or whatever. I'll say thank you. I'll appreciate it. But it's actually the things that mean the most are those memories that I can.
They made up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because MCM was hot back in the 80s. Then all of a sudden it dropped on.
And then
it
came
come back 20,
Yeah.
30 years later, right?
Yeah, and I still got cards from 20 years ago. I ain't lying.
Hey, but can I ask this question right quick? Somebody asked a question on my page here. A young lady said she wants to know, what does it mean when a man say he wants to be friends with no strings attached, and she want it coming from the single man.
What does that mean?
When a man says he wants to be friends with you, but he don't want no strings attached.
He don't want to be with you. He just want what you got.
Oh, well, he couldn't get no. He said he don't want to be with you.
He wants freedom.
He wants what you got to offer.
It can be that,
He
or it
wants
can be, or
freedom.
it's time is fluid. Most of the time when people speak like that, I'm gonna say most of the time.
Okay.
It's not all the time. Most of the time when people speak like that, it's someone else. It's not just the fact that they don't want to be with. It's someone else.
Or they don't want to. They don't really want a true commitment. Said, don't get your hopes up.
Right.
This ain't a commitment thing. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna do this. Woo woo woo. But then I'm gonna slide off. Don't be questioning me.
Right.
That's basically what I'm saying. Don't be questioning me, y'all. Don't ask me no questions.
Or what's the little meme that's out now that they got going trending around? Oh, look, if you see me out, don't worry about it. I'm doing interviews. I'm doing interviews, y'all. That's what he doing.
Have you ever dated a woman that was in a relationship with you, but you wasn't in a relationship with her? Because I notice there's a lot of women out there that's in relationship with men and they not in no relationship.
Well, I wouldn't say me, but I've seen it.
You seen it?
Yeah, I've seen
Wow.
it. I've seen it a lot. That's actually that's going on today.
Right, that's why I said I see a lot of that right now.
Nicole Shaw said, romance, flowers, calls, change a tire, text, watch a chick flick, watch a basketball game with you, a card knowing their favorite color, knowing they like steak and cheese from Jerry's, etc. That's romance.
I like that, except the goddamn tire. We're supposed to change the fucking tire. So that ain't romance. We supposed to do it. We supposed to go pump your gas. Matter of fact, I'm gonna take this step further.
That's true.
If a man lives in a house with a woman should never touch the trash.
Ever.
That's right.
Never. Watch this.
Never take
Watch
the
this.
trash.
Mine don't touch the trash, and mine don't pick up the mail from the mailbox either. None of that.
Yeah,
I do all that.
So-
I see
I
all
don't do
mail.
that.
That tire
I'm
shit,
paying
you
bills.
can erase that, but
I
I'll
don't
fool you with the rest of
I
it.
don't touch the trash.
You know what I'm saying? But you call good money because I've gone to the gas station and seen guys with women and guys sitting like, look like they He's sitting on the passenger side and she pumping the gas and I on everything. I literally go and say, hey, You want me to get that for you? Oh, no, I'm good. What you mean? You good? You can't be good. That's a man sitting there.
Right.
You know, but then again, that's another topic, for another day, because that's just disrespect. Chivalry is another topic. Yeah, but this romance piece and defining the boundaries, you're talking about commitment to monogamous relationships. Right. How difficult is it to actually commit to being monogamous when you don't have an obligation to? There's nothing universal that say you are obligated to this person. You ain't taking no oath or nothing with them. So why is it so, how do you do that?
Okay, so.
See, I knew how to get one of them in here, y'all.
Difficult it's not.
Okay.
It's all in your mindset.
Okay.
So as a man thinketh, so he is. So, therefore, if you think like you don't want it, then you can't do it. But when you set your mind to something, you're going to do exactly what it is that you set your mind to. When you started whatever venture you started, whether it be acting, whether it be your graphics, once you put your mind to
y'all work together. Because see, there are we got a lot of watchers, viewers out there that are in relationships with people that they work with. And they're in serious relationships with them. And I'm not talking about like they're a couple. They at work.
I've seen that, and I've seen it be successful, and I've seen it fail.
Right. What are some of the barriers to it?
In one successful marriage that I've seen, they've been married for over 25 years.
Who hired who?
Neither of them hired the other, nor did they supervise the other. However, there was a couple of times in that 25 years that they worked together that it did get a little stinky at the job, and it was a little argument here and there, but for the most part, honestly, I've seen them do nothing but show the utmost level of respect to one another. Okay. So even if there was dissension in the home, what they would do is that would be their place of peace and sanctity. So they would stay separate.
But see, the reason why I asked, I'm glad I asked, because on your line, somebody said never shit where you eat. Where you eat. and that may be true. But that's
with you.
But that also says that means you might be being a little fake, because love don't know where you are when it comes.
Oh my!
It don't know that you're in the grocery store.
That's
when you're pushing that car. It don't know that you at the car dealership. You over here looking at a car, and that person going to get their car serviced. Your eyes catch. Love has no environmental territory where it's saying I'm only going to show up at this place. So if it shows up at work,
then you set those boundaries.
So
if you want that relationship to work.
Where's there a break?
I'm just
I just told
talking about on the man's corner. Where's there a break? If you leave home, go to work together, come back home, go to work.
One. That's what
I just told you.
It's fluke.
No, I just told you that couple that was successful at it.
All right, we'll talk about the one that wasn't. Damn, the one that worked.
Right,
no. The one that wasn't successful at it was because they wanted to sow seeds.
Oh, okay. Well, that was the problem. Now I gotta get this little lady a shout out, because she birthed me in this world, and she watches our show religiously. When she said, Mom said, look, should not have a relationship at work, because when you break up, there will be a problem if the breakup is bad.
Oh.
Well, Mom, that means somebody gotta find another job, baby.
But you know what?
I'm just joking. Somebody may have to find another job.
When they broke up and it didn't turn out bad because
no, if it's bad though. No, she said if the breakup is bad. Now we gotta work together.
Yeah,
and I
appreciate that.
Crazy.
I've seen it.
See, don't be jumping on Mom.
No, I say the way they had to be the consummate professional, because when you still want that 6-figure income, baby, you gonna act right. You gonna act right. You gonna get that act right. No,
so that changes
because what happens is, as a professional, if you opt to get into a relationship, your job didn't hire you to get into a relationship.
And matter of fact, if you go through ethics class,
you ain't supposed to.
A lot of things you're not supposed to do, especially supervisory to subordinate relationships and all that should never happen, but they happen all the time. But that's just the thing. Okay, so he want, but what I want to know is, because as a married man and being in my marriage for a long time now. What do you see as a single man, Six, that married men are doing wrong in not keeping their households happy?
That's good.
Because as a single man, I'm sure that you've had married women to approach you as a single man. In your mind, what do you think that a married man should be doing to maintain his relationship in this marriage?
But this goes back to what Nick was speaking of in the beginning. One, we don't keep it a bean in the house. We got to be transparent, and we don't. So we walk into. Most of us are in relationship for the bills.
You know what? My grandfather always said that. He said, a long time, I tell the story all the time, about 20-something, 22, 23 years old. I took a young lady to my to my grandfather and said, man, we going to get married, I'm going to marry her. He turned the TV off, he's watching Price is Right. Man, he turned that joint off, man. He sat down, he looked at me, he said, why you want to do that? I said, because I love her. He said, let me say this to you, in front of her, embarrassed the hell out of me. He say, he said, man, people in their 20s marry for love. People in their 30s marry for convenience. When you're 40 and over, you marry for companionship. He said, now if she is your companion at 20-something, go for it. But you cannot find companionship in love. You can't find convenience in it. But you can get love and convenience in the companionship. Be the companion. Right. And so the convenience thing is critical because, you know, people come together. You got an apartment, I got an apartment. We both paying $1,400, $1,500. That's $3,000 together. Let's get our own little place. Let's save some money. But we really ain't saving money because emotionally we messed up. We ain't connected.
No.
Yeah. So I get that.
So to answer your question, what I get from married guys, and this is why I probably single so long, because I don't want to make a mistake. Because my uncle, he always tell his wife, if we have any problems, there will be no separation. We're gonna sit in here and fix it. Like you know how people, we're gonna take a break.
Right. Yeah.
So I never want to be in a position where I get married and I see different households of marriage, right? And this one is cool in this part, but it's broken in that part.
Right.
Like, I talk to guys all the time, man. I ain't getting no twat at home. Like I ain't about to marry that. You know. So is that I'm not gonna marry for convenience. I have to be. Like we keep it on the show, keep it 100 or a bean. I think I'm like Sonny said in the beginning of the show. I'm gonna have to watch me, right?
Right.
I don't want to be that guy that have to dance around his wife to do what he needs or want to do.
Yep. I'm with you on that.
And I see it a lot.
I'm with you on that.
That comes with picking the right partner, and that's why your communication has to be, you have to be so open and vulnerable in the beginning to know and understand who you are and what your expectations are.
Are you comfortable being vulnerable?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Ladies, come on now, my inbox.
So I'm cool with being vulnerable, but the problem with that is because of, you guys spoke about it, women are hurt.
Yeah.
Men are hurt.
Yeah.
So we dive into these different type of relationships to try to overcome the hurt. I don't want to be that side dude that, because you didn't came from that side. Like for me, I'm sorry, and I'm gonna keep it a being as we always do. If you was ever gay, I carry the same rules as a woman carry, because a woman won't accept a man if he was gay and come back over. I carry the same rules. If you was gay and now you want to come out, stay your ass over there. Like we always talk about, I can't compete with batteries. It's a fact that blend that they play with can damage themselves. I can't fix that. I got a time limit on me.
We don't all use batteries though. Let's get that straight. We don't all use batteries.
Most do.
Most of us.
So the man's going hold fast. So I can't fix the clitoris with what I have.
Right.
You hold on. You're supposed to be able to now.
Exactly.
How the hell I'm gonna fix something that you damaged with a battery?
No, not damage, but I'm saying
That's what I'm speaking of.
I'm saying you're supposed to be able to fix it.
No, I'm speaking of.
Heterosexually, you're supposed.
I'm speaking of your ass can't come out go here after you dance though.
I got you.
All right, then.
Right, but you're speaking on, but you're also speaking on your emotions and what you will accept and what you will not accept
Right.
in a relationship.
Right.
And so I think, but watch this. That's one of those deal breakers that we were talking about
In the beginning.
early on in the beginning. And that's something that
beginning.
you would ask that question in the beginning.
That's right.
Let's have this full-fledged conversation. Like, I think that it's okay for a woman to ask a man, have you ever had any relationships outside of the opposite sex of you? Have you had a relationship with a man or been involved with it? I think that it's
what?
okay for women to ask that question because
Can I
there's
just
too much going
insert
on.
this one part?
You know, so
I think at
that's
this
being-
point in time, honestly, it's almost, if you're openly dating, it's like a prerequisite for you to ask that. Because Tank just let y'all know, ladies.
See that? He's sucking dick on the side.
Tank
I ain't
just let
saying
y'all know. If you don't know nothing else, he done told you. So you need to ask questions.
Okay, so look, we need another part to this, people, and we're gonna probably have it real soon.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
But we
Thank
can ready
you,
to close out because we got some other obligations we got to
Thank you,
all these
guys.
sweatsuits ain't on for no
For
reason.
no reason,
I
dude.
know.
But it's been a
Back here next
joy.
week,
We'll be back here next
same
week, y'all.
time, different day, same channel.
Yeah, and we'll
See
take this
y'all
time to
next
thank you
week.
all for
Appreciate
coming out
you guys
again.
for chiming in.
Join again.
We got
Again,
some
this is
things
the
going in
Men's
next
Corner.
week.
Talking about relationships with a
All right, man. This
our
is a good
special
topic.
guest,
I
Miss
appreciate y'all.
Nikki. We right here, Miss Nikki. This camera right here. That's right, camera 1, baby. That's camera 2
with the
over there.
Band-Aids. That's what the Band-Aids
So
are
we
for
really want to
Nikki.
thank Nikki for coming in. As always,
Appreciate you guys,
Men's
man.
Corner.
Hey,
We love you. We
log
appreciate you.
on and subscribe to YouTube, please. YouTube.
Time until the next time we see you. Be
Subscribe.
very careful out there during this holiday period.